A very warm welcome to BBC London. Coming up this evening. The Met says it's scrapping the Royal Parks Police and cutting other offices and services to try and balance the books for the coming year.
They say they're grateful for the money they've received from the Mayor and from central government, but they say the amount they've got has left them having to make substantial, tough choices.
Also tonight, police release a photograph of Kalia Koa, the 11-year-old girl who went missing in the Thames on Monday. Plus, phone snatching in central London. Do you know how to protect your device from fraud if it's stolen? And can you help boost butterfly numbers in the capital this summer? We'll explain all. Good evening to you and thanks for joining us. First tonight, the Metropolitan Police has apologised for victim blaming a woman who tried to report a predatory police officer and for spreading false information about her instead of investigating him. She told us she had to beg the force for years for help. Our Home Affairs correspondent Sonia Jessup has been speaking to her.
The murder of Sarah Everard led to calls to rid the Met of predatory police officers. Now the force has admitted it repeatedly failed one woman who said she had to beg for help. Over 7 years, it victim blamed her and spread false information about her mental health.
I tried to report him over and over again, and they completely ignored me. And now I know why. And it's shocking why. To actually see it in black and white it's just horrendous.
Lorraine, not her real name, has previously told us how she repeatedly complained about an officer called PC Phil Hunter. He met her during a welfare check in 2017, but over 2 years sent her inappropriate messages, trying to groom her into a sexual relationship. But the Met did not investigate him. In a letter to Lorraine, it's apologised for a series of failings. They include recording inaccurate information about her mental health and ignoring her complaints when she provided evidence showing it wasn't true, then sharing those records with others, including social services. It says defamatory information was passed to her GP and that decisions not to investigate may have been influenced by the belief that she was suffering from mental health problems. Lorraine says that raises deeper concerns about how victims are treated.
What about other women who've come forward who do have a mental health issue of some description and they've completely ignored them on that basis? It's horrendous. It's probably the worst thing I've heard in all this time.
The Met had already known that PC Hunter had targeted another woman, also during a welfare check. He resigned from the force in 2019 and was found guilty of gross misconduct in 2020. It wasn't until August 2024 that he was again found guilty of gross misconduct for grooming Lorraine. She says even after he left the force, he was able to get information about her case.
I was terrified of him, absolutely terrified of him. He knew so much about me from police station gossip, where I was going, who I was seeing. He knew everything about me.
The Met says it's sorry for additional distress caused by the prolonged and difficult experience and that it's committed to improving the misconduct system and rooting out rogue officers. Lorraine says she no longer believes in promises of reform.
This is the Metropolitan Police who've got caught out and had to admit it. That's a completely different thing than being proactive and supporting women who are victims of violence. There are bad people in the world, but when the people that you should be able to trust turn out to be just as bad, where do you go with that?
That was Sonia Jessup reporting there. Let's get an update now on an upsetting story we've reported this week. The 11-year-old girl who went missing in the Thames in North Greenwich on Monday. Today, police have released a photograph of Kalia Koa. Well, my colleague Alice Bandukravi joins me now with more. Alice.
That's right. This is the photo of Kalia Koa, 11-year-old who went missing at lunchtime on Monday after playing with some friends by the river near London City Airport. Now, it's understood that they were playing at a place called Barge House Causeway, which is a steep slope which leads into the water. And eyewitnesses said that they'd heard children shouting and screaming, and that a woman who lived nearby had rushed to help, and she found a phone, a jacket, and some shoes, but there was no sign of Kalia herself. Now, emergency services launched a full-scale search, but were not able to find her, sadly.
Yeah, deeply distressing. Do we know how she got into the water?
It's unclear how exactly she went into the water, and it's also unclear who owns that land, who is responsible for the safety in that area, and that's an issue that the Mayor talked about today.
Unfortunately, there is a difference of opinion about who's responsible for different parts of the river. That's no good in terms of Londoners and young people and vulnerable people. It is really important that there is clear signage, there is a clear responsibility taken for who's in charge of the river, but also we've got to raise awareness, particularly to children, about the hidden dangers of the River Thames, of docks, of wharves, of this causeway.
So clearly this is not a safe place. Inevitably, questions now turn to whose responsibility this place is, how to keep it safe, and of course the Met Police, who say that they are now on a recovery mission along the Thames.
OK, Alice, thank you for that latest update there. Alice Bandakravi. Now, phone snatching is an issue in London and may have happened to you or someone you know. Well, in the City of London, you might see some new fake blue plaques to help raise awareness, and commuters are being given advice on how to protect their phones from fraud if they're stolen and how to get them back, as Thomas McGill reports.
Snatched in an instant. Look again at the right-hand side of your screen at the sheer speed of the crime. When it happens, there's little the victim can do. But now this pop-up kiosk outside Liverpool Street Station is offering a free device and advice on how to secure your phone and make it more traceable if ever recovered.
Today we are marking phones, so it's a tamper-proof secure tag or sticker, if you like, that goes on the back of a mobile phone. So with this sticker, they're really difficult to get off. It gives us a really simple solution to find the owner's details immediately, get the phone back to them.
Do you think that was a useful exercise?
Yes, it was a useful exercise because I've heard that there's a lot of phone snatching going on at the moment.
I'm paranoid about my phone being stolen, so obviously I'll take every measure to try and stop it, but that sounded like a really good, secure way.
My phone has been stolen in the past before, so I'm hopeful that I will get it back next time if it happens.
Another street and another unsuspecting victim is robbed in broad daylight. Well, that robbery happened here just outside City Thameslink Station, where there's now a sign on the pavement to mark the spot. This has been created by the City of London Police, who are putting these at hotspots all across the city, hoping they will act as a reminder to people to remain vigilant. The force says this crime is much greater than the theft of a phone, and it leads to thousands of pounds of fraud every day.
We've seen in the last financial year 937 devices stolen just within the City of London. But it's not just about the physical device being stolen, it's about what the criminals can get from that device afterwards. Fraud equates to £7,000 a day goes into the organised crime group networks as a result of being able to impersonate your details.
With more blue plaques like this one set to appear on pavements across the city, it's hoped they will help deter thieves and remind us to remain cautious. Thomas McGill, BBC London.
Turning to some of the day's other news. A group of MPs has heard that Heathrow Airport was warned about its power supply in the days before a fire at a nearby substation. Several incidents had been of concern, according to the head of a group representing airlines at the airport. However, the Heathrow boss told the Transport Committee he had to make very serious safety decisions when he shut the airport on the 21st of March. And 23 more women have come forward with allegations against serial rapist Zhen Hao Zhu, a Chinese PhD student found guilty last month of drugging and raping 10 women across 2 continents. Police say they had video evidence filmed by Zhu himself of potentially 50 more victims. And you can find more stories on our website. Just head to the address there, bbc.co.uk/London. Next, to details of cuts to the capital's police force to help balance its books for the coming year. The Met says it will have to lose hundreds of officers and cut a number of services due to a £260 million hole in its budget. So, what's going? Well, 1,700 officers, PCSOs and staff will be cut. The Royal Parks police team will be scrapped, and there will no longer be officers in schools. But the force says it will protect frontline services such as neighbourhood policing and tackling violence against women and girls. Here's our political editor, Carl Mercer.
Future passing out parades may not be so well attended. The Met Police saying today it's going to have to lose 1,700 officers, staff and PCSOs in the coming year. It blames a £250 million hole in its budget. The Commissioner has been warning it would be bad since late last year.
The Chancellor's been very clear it's a difficult public sector context of a scale that's never going to be absorbed by efficiencies and is going to require some pretty eye-watering cuts to the services we provide to London.
Back then, he was predicting more than 2,000 jobs would go. Today, brought a slightly lower figure. Do you think these are eye-watering or not? 1,700 staff going from the Met Police, officers, PCSO staff, to many Londoners will still seem like eye-watering cuts.
Oh, listen, since 2010, there's been cuts to not just the police, but the NHS schools and the like. At the end of the coming years, at the end of 25-26, because of my investment, we will have more officers than in my first year as Mayor.
What will go, though, are police officers based in schools and the dedicated Royal Parks Police.
It's horrible, you know, how can we not do with any policemen being around if anything happens in the park?
To be honest, I never came here after dark anyway before, so I think it's just making it even more unsafe.
We've got little children that we look after, so we really feel safe if the police are here.
There'll also be cuts to forensic teams, to the mounted and dog teams. Guns may be removed from the flying squad, and there could be more limits on police station opening times.
It's really very hard to pick any of those areas that would be a good idea to cut. This is why we think it's a choice that Labour are making, and it's the wrong choice. And we think when it's only 1% of the Mayor's budget, really, that we're talking about here, between the Labour government and the Labour Mayor, we think they can actually solve this problem. That's why we're writing to the Home Secretary today to suggest that she does exactly that.
Now, you might think that on a day they're announcing 1,700 job losses, the Met Police might put someone up for us to interview, but that's not the case here today. Instead, they've issued a statement. They say they're grateful for the money they've received from the Mayor and from central government, but they say the amount they've got has left them having to make substantial, tough choices. What it may point to, the fact that they haven't put anyone up for interview, is the fact that there's tension between City Hall and Scotland Yard about the approach to future funding. Because they'd originally wanted to do a walkabout like this for today's announcement, it didn't happen. Ahead of the government's spending review in June, it appears City Hall would rather the Commissioner wasn't out in public complaining about funding. Carl Mercer, BBC London.
Thanks for being with us. Still to come tonight.
The butterfly population is in severe decline. Find out what's being done here at Clapham Common to try to reverse that, and how you can help where you are.
And ahead of Sunday's London Landmarks Half Marathon, we chat to two runners taking part, dressed as iconic buildings. This is 2-year-old Lily from Hertfordshire. She has a rare genetic disorder which will almost certainly take her life before she's 8. She could have been saved had the condition been picked up at birth, but it isn't routinely screened for. Her parents are calling on the government to change that to give others hope in future. Chris Slegg has the story.
Baby Lily last July, then aged 19 months. No one knew she'd been born with a rare genetic condition, metachromatic leukodystrophy, or MLD. Now, MLD has taken hold. She's unable to support herself and has to be fed through a tube. It will eventually lead to loss of life. For mum and dad, Emily and Sean from Hertford, it's devastating.
The early signs that were picked up at nursery were nystagmus of the eye, which is just a shaking motion, or Lily's was more rotary. She was also in plantar flexor a lot, so her legs were just completely stiff, toes continuously pointing.
The thought of another family having to go through that turmoil is so heartbreaking, especially when we know that there is treatment, and that's the bit that we really want to get across to sort of, the government and the NHS and the national screening committees, that this is preventable.
This is Libmeldy, a gene therapy which can successfully treat MLD, but the cruel irony is that by the time you know a child needs it, it's too late for it to work. It needs to be administered before symptoms are showing. So Emily and Sean are calling on the government to add MLD to the heel prick test for conditions routinely screened for at birth. That could have saved Lily by diagnosing MLD before she became ill. It's too late for her, but her case could give hope to others.
To know that if Lily had been screened at birth as part of the newborn screening, and that she could have gone on to have the treatment within sort of 6 to 8 weeks, would have prevented everything that we're in now.
Lifelong family friend David Kiddy is currently fundraising by walking the equivalent of a marathon a day between all 10 Southern Premier League football grounds and Wembley.
Any support that we can give as friends and family, we have to be there for them. But it's just inspirational what they do every day, just on a normal daily basis that we sort of take for granted.
Lily was diagnosed with metachromatic leukodystrophy in late...
Emily and Sean's MP, Josh Dean, raised Lily's case in Parliament last week. According to the government, the evidence for an MLD screening programme is currently being reviewed.
We want to see awareness. This isn't about the walk, it is obviously about Lily, but it's about many more that will come to suffer with this if something doesn't change.
Emily, where are you finding strength and taking hope from in such a bleak situation?
I don't know, you just do. It's a mother's instinct, and you just get on with things. I don't have the opportunity to stop, and I won't stop until something changes either.
All those who love Lily are determined her light will shine on by giving hope to others through routine screening. Chris Slegg, BBC London.
And we wish the family well. Now, thousands of runners will take to the capital streets this Sunday for the London Landmarks Half Marathon. They'll be running 13.1 miles past some of our most iconic buildings. In a moment, I'll chat to two of those taking part, and in some fashion, I can tell you. First, here's a flavour and reminder of what we can expect.
The money that we raise, if it can save other families from going through what we have, then I'll do it.
Between us so far, we've raised over 50,000 this year, and in previous years we've raised probably 30,000 or so each time. So we've raised quite a lot of money wearing these things.
And I'm joined now by Rob and Isaac, aka Big Ben, as we saw there. Welcome to you both. Now, if this wasn't tough enough as a half marathon, you thought you'd up the ante, did you?
I didn't up the ante, but I've had the ante upped for me. So yes, I'm running in costume.
And Rob, you're not running this year. You've
I've
organised
done it in the past, and that was enough. And I'm just hoping that all the other runners aren't watching this, because these are tough. And when I ran with it, it almost did me in.
OK, so the big question is, why?
Why? Because it's a lot of fun to raise. Well, most importantly, we're raising money for sports-based charity Boost, and 12 of us coming together to run it this year and raise money.
Did you get to choose which landmark you wear?
I did. I'm running in sort of memory of my brother, who passed away 8 years ago. He had previously done the London Marathon dressed as Big Ben, so I sort of run in his memory.
And Rob, what were you before?
I was in St Bride's Church with a nice frilly skirt.
Yeah. And as you said, once was enough. Can I ask, do you practice the route at all in the costume, or do you just wing it on the day?
You wing it on the day. I think I'd probably get arrested if I ran around practicing. So no, I just do some warm-up runs and then on the day.
Just describe the atmosphere in London that day.
It's an incredible day. I think there's 20,000 runners and probably 5 times as many people on the streets. There's all manner of still bands, choirs, historical reenactment societies are on the route to keep you going.
Dare I ask the most challenging bit about wearing the costume?
Toilet break if necessary.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, just a bit of, what's the word, wind resistance. That's
I tell you what, would you put it on for us today? Is that a bit mean?
No,
OK, Rob, are you going to help Isaac?
Please, please.
And how heavy is it?
Not heavy at all. I could make out that it was heavy, but it's not.
Let's have a look. I can't believe you're doing this on BBC One. You're putting on Big Ben. And there we have it. And you're running 13.1 miles in that.
Yeah, 13.1, 13.2 if I keep going. But
yeah. And have you got what about things you need en route?
Well, they give you water en route, and people are giving you jelly babies along the way.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
See, look, Rob, I love the way that Rob's being really supportive, just checking that you're OK. Listen, thank you so much for being such a good sport. You look very, very hot in there.
Thank you very much.
To you and the whole group that are running, thank you so much. We wish you the best of luck.
Very much.
We will help you get out of that in just a moment. That is Rob and Isaac there. And obviously, good luck to anybody else taking part in the half marathon and raising money for good causes. But right now, to something a little less energetic, as you can see. Can you help boost butterflies in the capital this summer? That's what we're being asked to consider. How? Grow, not mow, is the message to gardeners. So let's find out more from Luxmi, who's on Clapham Common this evening. Tell us more, Luxmi. Hi there.
Hi, Riz. Yes, well, we haven't seen any butterflies so far this afternoon. It's probably just a bit too chilly for butterflies and humans at the moment, but it's hoped that that will change. And that's important because not only are butterflies pretty to look at, but they also help pollinate plants and keep pests under control. But their numbers are in a serious situation. In fact, last year, 2024, was one of the worst years on record for butterflies in the UK. And now, for the first time, half of UK butterfly species are in long-term decline. And the small tortoiseshell butterfly has had its worst ever year on record. And experts say the cause is us. We're using pesticides on an industrial scale, we're changing the climate, and we're destroying their habitat. But the local community and council here have tried to reverse that by creating their own new habitat for butterflies. So they've been planting wildflower seeds and choosing species of plants that attract butterflies. And you can see the ridges there. The idea is that it catches the sun, so it creates warm spots for butterflies and provides a bit of shelter. And if you've looked at that and you think, what can I do where I am? Well, Butterfly Conservation has some advice on how you can do your bit too.
So if you have a garden, we're asking people to visit the Butterfly Conservation website today and to sign a pledge to let your grass grow long. From now, from April through to the autumn, to end of September ideally, let some of your grass grow long, because that will be breeding habitat for butterflies, places where their caterpillars can live, and you'll be directly contributing to new butterflies to help reverse the trend.
So the answer is growing, not mowing. If you can hold off between April and September, and if you have to do a bit of mowing perhaps by July and August, then you can do a little bit of light mowing. But for the sake of the butterfly population, the key is, to misquote Elsa from Frozen, let it grow, Riz.
I like that. Luxmi, thanks very much. And with that, let's get a check on this sunny weather with Thomas, who's joined us. Or should I say sunny and windy today?
Yeah, it was really windy. I mean, I have a complaint to make to myself. You know? The skies is gorgeous.
You're not controlling it.
Well, unfortunately, we can't do anything about it. And, you know, the next few days, the next maybe 10 days or so are looking fairly similar. There's a lot of sunshine on the way. And I'm going to do in this forecast what Riz and I, in our business, call filling in, because there's not really an awful lot to say apart from the fact it's going to be sunny. But let me start with a satellite picture. Look at this large area of clear skies. Now, this is what we often call a blocking area of high pressure. To the south, we've got poor weather in Spain and Portugal, but we're in that high. But look at this easterly wind that's being pushed out of that area of high pressure that we've been feeling across the southeast, East Anglia, all along the North Sea coast. So it feels chilly. The sun is out. But if you're in those gusts of wind, it really feels like you need some layers. Now, tomorrow morning, temperatures outside of town, still on the nippy side, 5 degrees, 8 Celsius, but we're going to have a big, what we call a diurnal range in temperatures. That basically means that the morning's chilly, then that strong sun heats up the air, and we get sunshine. So temperatures up to 18 Celsius. But look at that, just on the edge of the screen there, other parts of the country will get some showers. We, I think, will be in the clear, mostly sunny weather. Maybe not quite as clear blue skies as what we had today. Could be some wisps of cloud, but on the whole, it's a fine, dry day. Let's have a look at Friday then. So end of the week, we still have that noticeable easterly breeze. It's with us for, well, Friday and the weekend as well. Temperatures getting up to 20 Celsius. So it does look pretty warm, 20 degrees, but in that wind, it feels on the chilly side for sure. And the nights are still pretty nippy. And of course, with that, the evening's going to be quite chilly too. But let me show you this outlook. Now, how often do we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what we used to call back in the day fried eggs there? So sunny skies, the temperatures will go up and down a little bit, but on the whole, and you know what, I probably could add another one here. So it's looking absolutely amazing. What do you think of that?
I love it. Can I just say, I love the counting too, but look at those temperatures. Yeah, no, Thomas, thank you ever so much. And just to let you know, ahead of the new and controversial Silvertown Tunnel opening in East London on Monday, Eddie Nestor will be hosting a special BBC Radio London show from 10 a.m. tomorrow. Thanks for watching. More stories on our social media. Have a lovely evening.